Hello there. You may be wondering why I'm doing a Kylo Ren hero guide next instead of the Palpatine one I promised. Well, I'll probably get into that later if I remember to, so I'll probably put it at the end of the video. But for now, let's get into the Kylo Ren hero guide. So, starting off with some just basic information, Kylo Ren is a pretty fast and aggressive hero, and that's pretty much what makes him pretty great when it comes to doing certain things. He can handle 1v1s quite well, and is pretty fast, so he can match heroes like Luke when it comes to speed. Now we can get into the main stuff here. So Kylo Ren has 750 health. I did not check what his health regen pool is, but I assume it's 250 because that's the normal, so I'm assuming it's 250. And that's his health. He has the standard 3 abilities. However, his weapon is the lightsaber. Of course, this is his crossguard, the lightsaber we see him use in the movies. So this deals 125 damage to the front, while also doing 165 to the back. This is for both sides, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, he also has 2 dashes, which is pretty normal for a hero. So yeah, now we can get into his abilities. The first ability is the Force Pull. This makes him pull enemies to him, and this is not as useful without 2 star cards, which I recommend using when it comes to hero modes. So yeah, for this, however, it deals 10 damage and will pull enemies towards you. While not very efficient without any upgrades when it comes to damage, it is pretty efficient at bringing enemies towards you when you need them to have less distance, because that is a bit of a good part when it comes to troopers. So now we can get into his next ability. Oh yeah, and pull also has a 20-second cooldown. So now we can get into his next ability. This is Frenzy. This basically makes him go on a raging attack on a ton of enemies, and this basically makes him do 3 strikes, all dealing, I'm pretty sure, 160 damage. So it deals quite a lot of damage, and even more so when we get to the bugs and glitches parts of it, of this section of that section of the video, where we'll have one thing about it for it. So, and the third strike, which is also the last one, does go through blocks, but keep in mind it does sometimes not work because people either dash away, so, or it can just get cancelled because of a certain thing the enemy did, which is not ever meant to happen. It's never intended to cancel, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, now we get, it also has a 10-second cooldown. So oh yeah, it deals 162 non-heroes and deals 115 to heroes. Sorry, I wasn't reading what I put down there properly. And has a 10-second cooldown. Now his last ability is called Freeze. this makes him freeze enemies for a certain amount of time. If Kylo attacks them, they will be let free. However, this is good if you need to make an escape, but it's also pretty good when it comes to dueling, as this can allow you to get health back, or just have more attacks, or just allow you to attack them in the back 2 times to get damaging them pretty easily. So yeah. Now this has a 24-second cooldown, and it's the longest one he has. He can also attack 14 times before his stamina runs out. So yeah. Now we can get into the more strategy, I can't say that word. Now we can get into the more where his gameplay comes in. Now the more common thing that you should always be knowing is the parry when it comes to saber heroes. That's always a must. Basically done by holding down block, and then you basically attack the enemy once you hear the clash sound effects, making sure you hold down block, and you will perform an unblockable attack, and you won't take any damage yourself. Just press it twice if you want to do the attack twice, if you want to do a double parry, which is really so yeah. Then now here we get into the proper strategy. Can't say that word. Now we get into the more things that are mainly, you could say, Kylo exclusive. So this comes in where he's a very offensive hero. He's much more on attack, and this is pretty much proven by his frenzy ability. I'm pretty sure it would just be one big powerful strike if he was not intended to be an offensive hero. But then he is an offensive hero, so that's probably why they gave him 3 strikes. So they probably would have gave him 1 or 2. So, or it probably would have been something different, like a super pull. So yeah. Now Kylo, he excels with speed, and pretty much he excels when it comes to speed, and when it comes over to, well, he pretty much excels when it comes to speed and being aggressive. Make sure you're not too aggressive though, because if you do, you're going to end up dying, but that's pretty obvious, I'd assume. So yeah. Now he's, like I said, very aggressive. But he can be taken out quite easily if you're too aggressive. You need to know when to attack and when to not attack. Pretty much never block, and I mean never attack against a blocking saber hero, especially if they're high level, because they probably know how to parry, and most players would. So I would not attack them if they're blocking. However, a thing that I recommend with Kylo is that if you want to stay alive but be offensive, then I recommend staying near your team. That way you basically are being able to do what Kylo does best, but you can survive much longer because you're with a team, and they'll provide support that you wouldn't have without your team. So with that, we can now get, and when it comes to 1v1s, I just recommend, well, when it comes to 1v1s, I recommend basically dueling with, I basically recommend trying your best to not be as aggressive as you normally would be, because if you do, you're going to be much more open to attacks because you're in a 1v1 and you're only focusing on the one hero. So yeah. So now we can really just get into the tips, glitches and bugs. So the bugs I have to talk about with Kylo, well, the ones that really put him at a disadvantage, and I'm just going to count bugs as the ones that basically affect Kylo's gameplay bad, and the glitches as the ones that affect them good. So I'm just going to categorize, I can't say different words right now. So I'm just going to categorize them in that kind of way, so do keep that in mind. For bugs, Kylo doesn't have that many bugs to my knowledge, apart from the frenzy bug. This basically just makes him stop attacking when he shouldn't be. So this is the only bug I'm aware of for him. So apart from that, he's a pretty bug-free hero. Now we can get into the glitches. Now, as far as I know, there's only one glitch for him, but this one is quite overpowered, I'll say. This basically allows him to do 4 frenzy attacks all at once, with the 4th one even going through blocks, because it still counts as the 3rd one, I'm pretty sure. Basically, if you want it to be done the easy way, I'll just give you a quick example, if I can. Basically, the way it's done is you dash to the right. That's my preferred side. That's the way I prefer to do it. You might want to do it either left or right. Either way is good, because it's much easier to do it than doing it in reverse, and I highly don't recommend doing it in reverse because that gives it a higher chance of failing. So basically, you dash to the right, turn your camera, and then he will perform 4 strikes if there's still an enemy in range. So yeah. I tried to perform it, but I didn't do it correctly. I'm much more used to doing it going right, so. But yeah, that's basically the glitches with Kylo. Now my tips are really just, now if I have any extra tips to say, my only extra tips I'd say that I think could be useful when it comes to different things. Just make sure you're being aggressive. That's what Kylo does best. If you can do that, you're pretty far with him, and you know quite a lot about how to use him. So yeah. Okay. Anyways, that's really it when it comes to Kylo, but I will have one more thing, the star cards I recommend for him. Now, he does have many good star cards, but for my preferred version, where it comes to basically, my preferred mode is Hero Showdown, so that really consists of a ton of 1v1s. So do expect pretty much this to be full of mainly Hero Showdown cards, and that was for Frenzy Glitch, if you didn't just notice. So yeah, so with that we'll just get into the star cards. So yeah, I'll just end it right here for now. So then I can't exit right here. Gonna have to wait. So once I can finally exit, but now I don't want to play again. I can just do it from there. Really, it doesn't really matter that much. So the star cards I recommend for Kylo when it comes to Hero Showdown. Recommend Bloodlust. This basically makes him deal 20 more damage per hit with his frenzy attacks. This really makes him do about 135 to heroes and deals 190 to troopers. So you'll be one hitting all troopers but the heavy with this on. but you're already doing that with most troopers, with the most of the troopers. But this is must when it comes to hero modes. This harsh pull, this makes it deal 50 more damage. I am going by the fully upgraded versions, by the way. This basically makes it do 50 more damage, so you have 60 damage on your pull, which makes it much more efficient. I highly recommend it. And for the last hero showdown card, Power Reach. This makes the effects this makes the range of it 30% longer. So this really is basically attraction for Kylo. So it's pretty useful, and I recommend it. There have been certain situations where I found it useful. Now, are there any star cards I recommend to not use? Well, Resilience. I think I did do a test with this already on the last video on my original Kylo Ren hero guides, which cannot be viewed anymore. But basically, the bonus damage and damage reduction don't get given to you unless you're actually with the Saber heroes and Palpatine. So yeah, you're not going to get that damage reduction unless you're with Dooku, Maul, Palpatine and Grievous and Owen Vader. So you're not going to get that damage reduction unless you're with those certain heroes. So yeah, it's pretty much useless to have this card on, and plus in a 1v1 this is going to be useless anyway, and pretty much any modes you can really swap it out for a different card and it would be just as good, and Kylo could be just as good. For heroes versus villains, because that really is on a different level when it comes to team play, I probably would still recommend Bloodless. It still deals extra damage. Really, I would just really go with the same loadout. You could probably switch out Power Reach for Berserking Tantrum, because Kylo could use the extra stamina, but he's already got the Bloodless, and that's already quite good for when you don't have stamina with Frenzy. So yeah, I'll probably just stick with the same loadout. Trooper modes, I don't really play them, so this is mainly, so just take this with a grain of salt, because I'm not really a Trooper modes player. You may want to, I'll probably go with, you don't really need Bloodless, but I would still recommend Harsh Pull and Power Reach. And I'd recommend Power of Darkness, because once you do Frenzy, you'll deal 14 more damage with your normal lightsaber strikes for 6 seconds. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So with this Kylo Ren hero guide finally finished, I can now get to explain why I did this one instead of Palpatine. So the reason why is because I was just looking through the Battlefront 2 streams, then noticed, however, there was really only one going on from what I saw. So it was a new player, and I told him, and after the stream had been going on for a bit, I told him I would make him 2 hero guides on the 2 heroes he would want me to do them on. So this is basically one of the 2 hero guides. Next up will be Anakin, that's the second one he wanted. I'll probably be doing the rest of my hero guides though on my second channel, Gonk Dueling. So that will probably, so I'll hopefully link that in the description. So yeah, so once I've done with all that, I can finally get back to the normal uploads. I know I'll be doing weekly uploads, but yeah, and I know it's only been 3 days since my last video, but yeah, I decided to get a video out now. I guess I can do multiple videos a week really. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.